Hey guys, in this video we'll be looking at radioactive decay. We're going to particularly focus on half-life calculations. Let's get right to it. Half-life can be defined as the time taken. It is a time period for the number of radioactive nuclei. Radioactive nuclei are unstable nuclei that will decompose and give out radioactive radiation. That's another topic by itself. I will leave the link in the description below and time a video on that. When the number of radioactive nuclei becomes half its initial value. Every time the number of radioactive nuclei becomes half, the time period for that is known as the half-life. Let's look at an example of radioactive decay here. This is known as an alpha particle. Again, I'll cover all this in a separate video. This is an alpha particle. So this is actually an alpha decay. In an alpha decay, an alpha particle is given out as an unstable nucleus becomes a more stable nucleus. When we hear the word decay, we are tempted to think that something disappears entirely, but that's not the case in radioactive decay. In radioactive decay or nuclear decay, what really goes on is one nucleus, which is unstable, becomes another nucleus, which is more stable. So it's not a matter of the unstable nucleus just disappearing, but it is becoming another different, more stable nucleus. In the example that we have here, the blue nucleus, I'm going to call it A, breaks down into nucleus B by giving out the helium nucleus, that is the alpha particle. So this is an alpha decay. Let's study half-life by looking at this particular reaction. Let's say in the beginning we have 16 unstable nuclei. So we have the number of nuclei of A. This number is known as N0. This is the initial number of radioactive nuclei, initial number of unstable nuclei. And the number of nuclei at B at this point, since there has been no radioactive decay yet, we are taking this as time is equals to 0. So at this point, there's no decay yet, so the number of nuclei of B is 0. After one half-life, half-life is defined as the time taken for the number of radioactive nuclei to half its initial value. And therefore, after one half-life, we can see that half of A has become B. 8 nuclei of A have decayed by giving out alpha radiation and have become B. So now the number of unstable nuclei has become 1 over 2 of the original value, half of N0. And now we have unstable nuclei as well as stable nuclei because there has been decay to stable nuclei. And the number of stable nuclei B is also half of the original value. So the way that we calculate B here would be, as you can see here, this would be equals to the initial number of radioactive nuclei minus the current number of radioactive nuclei. And so we would get 1 over 2 of N0. And then after another half-life, after one more half-life, what happens is half of this, we are now looking at the unstable nuclei that's left. So the initial value here is actually 8. What do we expect after one half-life? It will reduce to half its initial value. And therefore you can see it has now become just 4. In terms of N0, in terms of the original number of radioactive nuclei, this is now only a quarter. So this is 1 over 4. The number of nuclei of A is 1 over 4 N0. And the number of nuclei of B, this will be the initial number of radioactive nuclei N0 minus the remaining number of radioactive nuclei. That's how we get the number of nuclei that has decayed, or rather in this case the proportion of nuclei that has decayed, and that would be 3 over 4n. 3/4 of the original number of radioactive nuclei have decayed and become more stable. And then after another half-life, so this time the initial value is 4. We are beginning with 4, and so we expect after one half-life that it would become 2. Half of this is going to decay into B. And now, after yet another half-life, what we see here is there's only 2 left. And writing this down as the proportion of the original number of nuclei, this is 2 over 16. So actually what we have is 1 over 8 of N0. This is the number of radioactive nuclei left, whereas the number of stable nuclei B will be the original number of radioactive nuclei minus the remaining number of radioactive nuclei, and therefore we get 7 over 8 N naught. This is the basic principle of half-life calculation. Every half-life, the number of radioactive nuclei that is remaining will become half its value. Every time one half-life occurs, it halves its value. It's important to note here that the half-life itself, the time taken, all these half-lives, all these time taken for the number of radioactive nuclei to halve the value is the same regardless of how much of the radioactive nuclei is left. So initially we have all the radioactive nuclei left. Let's say this half-life is T minutes. And so after one half-life, we only have half the amount of radioactive nuclei left that's going to decay. But the time taken for it to become half its current value is not different. It is exactly the same. It is still T minutes. After T minutes, this amount, that is 8 nuclei, will halve to 4. And after T minutes, the same T minutes, 4 nuclei will become 2 nuclei. Half-life is constant regardless of the number of radioactive nuclei in the sample that is decaying. From this, we will be able to pick out a pattern. So if you look at the number of radioactive nuclei left each time, we started with the full value N naught. After one half-life, it becomes half of N naught. And after another half-life, after the second half-life, it actually becomes half of the original value, which is 1 over 4 N naught. And then after yet another half-life, once again it becomes half of the original value here, which is half of 1 over 4, so we get 1 over 8. So we can generalize this pattern in a simple formula, and that is the number of radioactive nuclei remaining, N, is equals to 1 over 2 to the power of the number of half-lives that have occurred multiplied by N naught, the initial number of radioactive nuclei. The first N represents the number of remaining radioactive nuclei. This is the number of undecayed nuclei that's left behind. X refers to the number of half-lives. It's very important to note here that this is not the value of the half-life itself, but the number of half-lives that have passed. And finally, N naught represents the initial number of radioactive nuclei. So in this case, you can see the formula depends on the number of nuclei remaining and not on the number of decayed nuclei. This is the common confusion when applying this formula. So let's try to apply this formula in a question. A radioactive sample J decays into K with a half-life of 3 days. Its initial activity is 1600 counts per second. The activity refers to the number of radioactive nuclei decaying per second, and this is directly proportional to the number of radioactive nuclei. Therefore, we can apply the same formula as before, but this time a formula for activity would involve A. The activity of a sample will be equals to 1 over 2 to the power of x, the number of half-lives that have passed, multiplied by the initial activity. So you can see it's exactly the same formula, but instead of number of nuclei, we are going to use activity. So let's try this question. Find its activity 15 days later. So let's write down the formula again first before we substitute anything. So A is equals to 1 over 2 to the power of x times A naught. Now we have the initial value here, that is 1600. So let's substitute that first. 1 over 2 x times 1600. However, we do not have the number of half-lives that have passed yet. We only have the actual time that has passed, and we have the half-life. So the half-life here, let's make a note. The half-life here is 3 days. We have the half-life, we have the total time that has passed. We do not have the value of x yet. So in order to find the value of x, all we need to do is x will be the total time that has passed, that is 15 days, divided by 1 half-life, that is 3 days. By doing this, we can find the number of half-lives that have passed, and therefore this is 5. So now that we have the value of x, we can just substitute this into the formula. So A will be equals to, the activity after 15 days will be equals to 1 over 2 to the power of 5 multiplied by 1600. The value that you will get here is 1600 divided by 32, that is 50 counts per second. This is the activity after 5 half-lives, after 15 days. Let's look at the next question. Calculate the time taken for 93.75% of the sample to decay. In this case, they don't actually give us any number of nuclei or any activity. They've only given us the proportion of nuclei that has decayed. And when we have the proportion of nuclei that has decayed, we cannot apply the formula, because according to our formula, the formula only has the number of nuclei remaining and the initial number of nuclei. We have no place to substitute the number of nuclei that has already decayed. However, we can easily find the proportion of nuclei remaining from the proportion decayed, and that would be, n would simply be equals to 100% of the initial number minus the proportion that has decayed. That would be 93.75% of n naught. And here we will know that only 6.25% of the original value is remaining. So now we've calculated the remaining number of nuclei. We know the proportion of nuclei that's left. We can apply it into the formula even though we don't have any actual values. So let's apply this into the formula. N is equals to 6.25% of n naught. So that would be 6.25 over 100 of n naught will be equals to, so all I've done here is I've substituted n with this value. And now this is equals to 1 over 2 to the power of x. X is what we are going to find. We are going to find the number of half-lives that have occurred, multiplied by the initial number of radioactive nuclei, that is n naught. So from here you will see that immediately we can eliminate n naught. So n naught and n naught will be eliminated. Here we need to find the value of the power, and therefore you would need to use log. But before using log, you can first try this trick. You just convert 6.25 over 100 into the simplest fraction. So here you will get 1 over 16. 6.25 over 100 is 1 over 16. This is equals to 1 over 2x. And from here it's very easy to see. There is no need to use logarithms to solve this. X must be 4 because 16 is the denominator. So 2 to the power of 4 is 16. Therefore 2 to the power of x is equals to 16 and x is equals to 4. Now that we've found the value of x, we can answer the question. If we know the number of half-lives that have passed, we can calculate the actual time that has passed. So 4 half-lives would mean the time passed, the time taken would be equals to 4 half-lives times the time taken for 1 half-life, that is 3 days. And so the total time passed here is 12 days. Let's try another question. Calculate the time taken for 1/8 of the sample to be undecayed, to remain undecayed. So in this case, we are looking at the proportion of radioactive nuclei remaining, the undecayed nuclei. Therefore, we can straight away substitute this into the equation. N is equals to 1 over 2 to the power of the number of half-lives that have passed multiplied by the initial number of radioactive nuclei. And in this case, N is equals to 1/8. 1/8 is undecayed, 1/8 is remaining, 1/8 of the initial value is remaining, and this is equals to 1 over 2 to the power of x multiplied by the initial number. Once again, we don't really need the initial number here. And so initial number is eliminated from the equation, and you can see that 2 to the power of x must be equals to 8. Therefore, x is equals to 3. Now that we know that 3 half-lives have passed, the actual time that has passed will be equals to 3 half-lives multiplied by 3 days, which is the time for one half-life, and therefore the actual time that has passed is 9 days. Now let's up the level of difficulty. Let's look at this question here. How long would it take for the ratio of j to k in the sample to be 1 to 3? So we have to remember what's going on here. The question told us that j decays into k, which means this is the radioactive sample j, and this is the stable, more stable sample k. J becomes k. So how do we attempt this question? Because according to our formula, whenever we are looking for how long, the goal is to find the number of half-lives that have occurred. So what we are going to find here is just use our formula. N is equals to 1 over 2 to the power of x multiplied by n naught. So here we can only substitute the number of remaining nuclei, or the proportion of remaining nuclei of the original value. And that's exactly what's been given to us. They have told us that we have 1 part j and we have 3 parts k. The ratio is 1 to 3. If this is the ratio, then we know the proportion of j that's left, the proportion of remaining nuclei, the proportion of remaining radioactive undecayed nuclei. This would simply be 1 out of 4 of the initial value. And so now we can substitute this as our n. When we substitute this as n is equals to 1 over 4 n naught. It's the same process again, equals to 1 over 2 to the power of x multiplied by n naught. Eliminate the n naught, and now we end up with 2 to the power of x is equals to 4. Therefore x is equals to 2. And so we found the number of half-lives. So the actual time taken would be 2 half-lives multiplied by the duration of 1 half-life, and that is a total of 6 days. If you found this video useful, if you've learned anything from today, please do me a favor and hit that like button. It really does help the channel. Thank you very much for doing that. And if you do enjoy videos like this, subscribe, because I'll be producing at least one a week. I'll see you guys in the next video.